The Glo. I thought today I would change my room a little bit back to my original room, because the reason why I think I needed some more counter space, because I am actually going to get ready with you this morning, just throwing on a little something on my face, and I thought I would do it with you while I was finishing getting dressed. And then I'm also going to just share with you in the same video some of the things that I got and delivered this week, some of my favorites, some essentials, and just a couple different treats to myself. I am really just going to focus on my glow complexion and my eyes simply and easily, because I still have to wear a mask when going out into the stores, and I only have to go to three quick places, and you know which the store is, and that's Target. So anyway, I've already put on my little Elta sunscreen. The next one I'm going to do is put on my Tinted moisturizer, because I'm just going out. So it's all about the complexion and just making my skin an even complexion at this point. Also using my oldie but goodie brush, the artist brush. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get rid of this thing. I'm going to throw on this one, the sheer Chantecaille. I'm going taking my lipstick right to the very edge of that lip line that I did. So you don't see the lip liner. It's making my lip look fuller. All the way to the bottom too. Yeah! And to finish off my look, I am wearing, I'm going to stand up and show you what I have on. I have on a little CELINE top that I had gotten from a consignment store last year, and I thought I'm going to make a CELINE day, and I am throwing on my CELINE black tie perfume to go along with my CELINE top. I thought I would make it a CELINE kind of day. A little there, and a little there. Okay. All right. Ooh, little sophistication, little classy, little elegant, little fun, little casual. It's so freaking pretty. You guys, I forgot mascara. See what I mean? I'm always forgetting something. That's why typically I have to have everything I have to put on, and as I'm using them, then I put them back up in their right places, so that reminds me what I have left to do as my steps. That's a little tip that's been helping me over the years. So this is the Glo Easy Quick look for my face as I go out today. Now I'm going to transition to some of the goodies that I got delivered for this week, but quick intermission. Don't forget, thumbs up and subscribing to my channel will be a huge support to me and my channel. And don't forget what my goal is and my birthday wish. I cannot do it without you. So now on to the deliveries for the week. I won't say I'm on this big health kick, but just say I promise to do better. And I am excited to give you a report with the lemon water and the glass pitcher that I showed you last week. I am thrilled to say I went through the entire pitcher of water. I am on the journey to doing better with the water, so I'm excited about that. Something else that I got from Target, not saying it's completely healthy, but it's better than me eating ice cream every night. And that is I got this big container of Simply Trail Mix. I like getting this size too, because you can eat it at home and you can eat it in the car. Something else I got from Target is for the actress Taraji P. Henson. She also now has a hair care line in Target, and this is she calls this the stick, and it's really for our edges. And so I like it because it's nice and clear and it doesn't have an odor. So if you're looking for like a new edge cream or something to put on and it doesn't take a whole lot of work to like blend it in, definitely give this a try. I really like it a lot. This is the only thing I've bought so far from the line. I don't know if anybody else has tried something else that you like. I was looking at the other stuff and I'm like, I don't know. What should I try? I don't know what to try next. For anybody that's already tried this particular line, Taraji P. Henson, let me know what's been your favorite item so far. So what do I buy next from the Taraji P. Henson line that you guys think would be good? Okay. Now, the next few things were deliveries. I have been listening to a podcast by Guy Raz. I don't know if anybody else have heard him before, and it's something that I've been doing since the whole quarantine. You know, this quarantine has definitely have like awoken up more excitement to do different things for me than I have before. And I never really listened to podcasts. I know there's so many wonderful podcasts out there, but I never figured out that exact time when to listen to. So now that I've been quarantined and my routine has changed a little bit, I've been trying to walk every day. That I shared that with you. And on my walks now, I've been listening to the Guy Raz interviews that he does with entrepreneurs and people who started their own businesses, and it has been so good. I will definitely link the information below. But it was a big coincidence that I was listening to one of the series, and he started to interview this couple. I developed sheets and pillowcases and all that stuff, and they've now ventured into some other things, but it was all about the sheets. Anyway, long story short, just like you guys know, I love New York City. My other favorite place that I love to go to is Las Vegas. And if you can't tell, that very picture right down below, I'm going to give you a good close-up shot. That is my favorite hotel in Las Vegas. So I do believe that I shared with you in the past that your space, your atmosphere should give you inspiration. Picture that I actually had of the hotel, and then I just printed it. But what kind of gives it more of an elevated look is I took it to my frame shop and had them frame it. So at the bottom is my favorite hotel in Las Vegas, and at the top is one of my favorite brands that we all love, which is Hermes. And so just to kind of make the space my own and more inspiration, I did the investment of having them framed. So once again, that's basically how to, you know, have something that's a low and then making it a high quality by having it custom framed. And I will give you this tip also, is you can actually go support your local small businesses, like your local frame shop. Sometimes people think when we go to like big box places that they're cheaper. That is definitely not the case. And I'm not discounting or dismissing like Michael's and places like that. All I'm just sharing with you is don't go with the assumption that it's cheaper because of that type of store. Generally, they are not. That's why they are always giving you coupons and all that stuff and codes, because their prices are here for that kind of stuff. And they're basically, by giving you those coupons and all that extra stuff, they're basically bringing you almost to the same level as if you went to a local independent frame shop and did it your own. I'm diverted from the story. This couple was talking about how they started sheets and where it all began. So they thought, well, why can't we find this quality sheets at a more affordable price? And he said, and the interviewer asked him, what hotel were you guys at? And he said, the Wynn. I was like, oh my God. So I'm not the only one. If you've stayed at their hotel, you probably feel the exact same way that we did. And so that's what started them on their quest to trying to figure out how can we get these same quality sheets and not spend up here, but still having that level of quality. And it took them several years of research, time and money, and a lot of work. But long story short, they developed it and found how to do it. And the name of the company is called Brook Linen, and they live in Brooklyn. So hence Brook Linen. So I just thought that was so cute. I ordered the color white. I will tell you right off the bat, which is fine, which is actually great. It is white, but in the natural eye, it's not white. I'm going to wash it today, change my sheets, and put them on there, and I'll report to you in a few days. On my next video in a couple of days, I will definitely share with you my thoughts. Speaking of walking, so now on my daily walk, I pick up, you know, I just throw on like a sweatshirt, and I've shown you some of the things that I've gotten like at Target. But what I didn't show you is basically I wanted to throw on like a quick like bra or bralette to make it my walks easy too. I think you can still buy it on Spanx because they had it like as a clearance, because I guess it's like discontinued bralette. But it's a really soft, like a lace, and it's all one piece. I've bought like about 4 or 5 now. And the last place I got it was actually on Amazon, and I still got it at a discount price of half the price. So that's the name of it. Now, do you recall in my, I think it was my last video too, how I was talking about these leather shorts that I really wanted? Yeah, because I was talking about the green v-neck sweater, and then I showed you that whole look, and I ended up doing my Target sweater and then the skirt. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about the daggone leather shorts. They had them on sale, and then they were giving you additional like 10% off right now. So I did it. I got the leather shorts. They're by the brand called Equipment. And so I'm gonna stand up, and I'm actually gonna try them on for you too. I love, love, love the leather. The green is absolutely gorgeous. Camera isn't showing any justice, and it's pretty soft, like lambskin leather. Has the pockets in the back. So that is the one pair I got, and I got something else, and then I'm gonna try them both on for you. Something else I got, another pair of shorts. Okay, remember I was talking about the tan khaki shorts that I really wanted, but I didn't want to spend the money, but I really wanted these shorts, and I refused to pay, and Tibby was not putting them on sale. Nobody was putting them on sale. I said, I'm not doing it. But I love them. So with me playing around on the internet, I don't know how these shorts popped up for me, but these shorts popped up for me, and I love them even more than the Tibbies. That is... You're not going to believe the brand either. Can you tell that logo? It is Coach. I got these shorts, and I saw the picture. I'll show you the picture now. I saw this picture on the internet, and I was like, oh, kind of like these. A little bit snug around the waist, wide around the leg, and it kind of like a, you know, unstructured, like unique look about them. And I love the color. Look at these. I love, 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 love. I cannot say love enough. I'm now going to close out this video, be trying on these things for you. And don't forget, what am I trying to do by June? And that is hit 5,000 subscribers by my birthday. So I'm going to ask that you don't forget to subscribe right here and tell someone, share it with someone, and don't forget that crazy girl trying to hit 5,000 by her birthday in June. So let's make her birthday wish come true. That would be me. I really appreciate it, you guys. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will be seeing you in 2 more days. See ya. Bye.